Imagine the founding fathers, fresh from revolution, quill in hand, crafting a constitution that chains the federal beast to enumerated powers only. Yet today an unelected bureau dictates what arms you can bear, as if those chains never existed. Welcome to the saga of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives, the ATF, a federal entity birthed without a whisper of constitutional sanction, now wielding regulatory hammers that pulverize your Second Amendment freedoms. Let's dismantle this. The ATF slithered into existence in 1972, splintered from the IRS, but its roots tangle back to Prohibition-era enforcers and the National Firearms Act of 1934. Where's the constitutional warrant? Scan Article 1, Section 8. No clause empowers Congress to spawn a nationwide gun nanny, meddling in what weapons citizens keep for self-defense. The framers reserved such matters to states under the 10th Amendment, fearing precisely this, a central power disarming the populace it claims to serve. Yet the ATF persists, issuing rules that redefine everyday items, like unfinished frames or bump stocks, as deadly contraband, all under the guise of public safety. Which protections get trampled? Front and center, the Second Amendment's unequivocal command, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This isn't about militias alone, it's your inherent shield against tyranny, as affirmed in District of Columbia v. Heller. The 10th Amendment echoes this, hoarding unenumerated powers for states and people, not federal desk jockeys in Washington. Due process under the 5th, ignored when ATF decrees flip law-abiding owners into felons overnight, without legislative debate or voter input. How did judges let this monster roam free? Through twisted Commerce Clause expansions, starting with Wickard v. Filburn in 1942, where growing wheat for your own cows somehow affected interstate commerce. Courts latched onto this fiction to bless federal gun grabs, like the Gun Control Act of 1968, claiming intrastate firearm dealings ripple nationally. In United States v. Miller back in 1939, the Supreme Court mangled the Second Amendment by fixating on military usefulness, greenlighting NFA taxes and registrations that the ATF enforces today. Even post-Bruin in 2022, which demanded historical analogs for regs, judges in Garland v. Vanderstock last year upheld ATF's ghost gun edict, pretending parts kits equate to full firearms under old statutes. They defer, they rationalize, they invent, anything to sustain the administrative state. The real-world toll on the people? Devastating. Lawful gun owners face raids, fines, imprisonment for technicalities, like owning a suppressor without jumping through ATF hoops, devices that merely protect hearing but get branded as assassin tools. Communities reliant on self-defense in high-crime zones, disarmed by bureaucratic fiat, left vulnerable while criminals ignore rules. Businesses shutter, innovation stifles, and billions in compliance costs bleed from taxpayers. This isn't protection, it's subjugation, turning free citizens into subjects monitored by an agency that flips definitions at whim. Judges, you bear the blame here, not as neutral arbiters, but as enablers. In cases like Cargill versus Garland, you finally struck down the bump stock ban, admitting ATF can't rewrite laws to ban machine guns by executive pen. But why the selective spine? You've abdicated your oath by hiding behind Chevron deference for decades, letting agencies like ATF play legislator while you nod along, until Loper Bright finally axed that crutch. You're protecting bureaucratic empires over individual sovereignty, elevating agency expertise above the framers' text. In Vanderstock, you contorted the Gun Control Act to bless ghost gun rules, ignoring how it overrides the plain Second Amendment right to assemble arms. This isn't judging, it's legislating from the bench, worshiping elastic precedents over rigid constitutional barriers. Your duty is to strike down overreach, not upholster it with judicial gloss. Beware, America. If we let entities like the ATF endure through court-sanctioned sleight of hand, we're sleepwalking into a future where rights evaporate not by amendment, but by administrative memo. This is jurisprudence masquerading as law, a house of cards built on sand. Demand accountability, reclaim the Constitution before it's regulated into oblivion.